St. Elizabeth is the only nonprofit licensed adoption agency to provide adoption services in both the state of Kentucky and Indiana. Their Adoption Bridges of Kentuckiana program has been creating forever families for 35 years. Each family receives personalized services to their specific needs, and staff plays an intricate role in bringing families together. Our final story of the night, I could spend an hour. I could spend 2 hours up here introducing them, but many of you know them already. It is an absolute honor to introduce to you Kory and Alyssa Cochran to share their adoption story.
Can't see anybody, this is great. Good evening. As you know, we are Kory and Alyssa Cochran. Being a dad and a husband are the most important things that I do. But standing here, speaking to you, and hopefully leaving you with a lasting message is truly an honor. Please know that more than anything, we are so thankful for each of you and every single St. E's dollar raised prior to us being here. Without those, we simply would not be here. Period. This coming Wednesday, Alyssa and I will celebrate our 9th wedding anniversary. If you guys keep clapping, it's going to take a lot longer. And from the beginning, we knew that we wanted to adopt. We knew that we could love any child. Period. However, starting a family did not come easy. Ultimately, we made the decision to seek fertility treatment and enter the adoption process at the exact same time. We were determined that one of these options would work. For our sports fans in the room, we considered this our Hail Mary. We completed our home study on March 23rd, 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, and then the waiting game came. 1 full year later, on March 24th, 2021, Alyssa received the call. It was the call. Adoption Bridges telling us that we had a match, and the baby was due on June 21st. In a time of desperation for Alyssa and I, that call was everything. Entering the adoption and fertility at the same time, we were already emotionally drained. Sorry, I just looked at the photo. We were already emotionally drained. Prior to that call, a full year later, we were no closer to being parents. Prior to that call, we thought we had reached rock bottom. After that call, our minds moved way too fast. We had to buy all the things. Pick out names, pack our hospital bags. We did all of that with haste, excitement, and nerves. We met the birth mother, and the genuine moment with her gave us comfort and a sense of hope. At that same time, we also moved forward with fertility treatment, and Alyssa had just found out that she was pregnant. We were both ecstatic. The middle of June could not come fast enough. We were about to bring home a new baby through the adoption and then turn around and give birth to our second in December. We could not believe the story as it was being written. It was everything we'd hoped for and so much more. But that never happened. On Father's Day, June 20th of that year, a little boy was born to his mother in a hospital that was part of the plan. Around the time that was part of the plan, to the delivery doctor and nurses that were part of the plan. But we were no longer a part of that plan. It was a curveball. The birth mother made a decision, and at the last moment, she decided to parent the child. I received that call on June 21st. It was the worst call of my life, hands down.
We had a nursery, a name, hospital bags in the car, clothes, but no baby. I closed the door on a nursery, and I didn't know when I would open that door again. I wanted to focus on my pregnancy, but to be completely honest, I did not want to tell people I was pregnant. I did not want people to act like that somehow made this loss better. It didn't, it wouldn't, it still doesn't. We opened our hearts to welcome this baby into our lives, to be his parents, and he was just gone. Someone else was going to get to do all the things I imagined. Birth mom was going to be mom. I understood it was absolutely taking some time to focus on ourselves and stepping away, Kory and I tried to put all of our attention on the baby that we were expecting. This was difficult. We kept the adoption match internal with our immediate family, but we had told no one that we were pregnant for several reasons. We were trying to be excited about this family that we were building while also expecting another baby in 6 months. Fast forward to August 2nd, 2021, we had to see a specialist due to some ultrasound concerns that were seen by our OBGYN. On that day, we were told that there was a high chance that the child that I was pregnant with would be born with a genetic abnormality medically known as trisomy 21, commonly known as Down syndrome. Curveball. Tonight is not about Oliver, but you need to know that he plays a pivotal role in our story. Because of that curveball, we took a step back from the adoption process. In fact, declined a possible adoption match in August of 2021 as we tried to unravel what all of this meant for our future. We knew nothing about Down syndrome. We focused our energy on educating ourselves and quickly realized that having a child with Down syndrome would not change anything about wanting more children or about wanting to adopt. Oliver was born just before Christmas in 2021. He was perfect. He still is. Our hearts were exploding with love we had never imagined. Our hearts were more confident than ever that Oliver would be an amazing big brother. In our delusional state of believing every child would be as easy of a newborn as Oliver, who slept great, rarely cried, and was simply a happy baby all of the time, we re-engaged in the adoption process. In August of 2022, we received another match. A beautiful baby girl was already born, only a couple months older than Oliver. Long story short, we hustled to make this happen. We were so excited to bring home this beautiful baby girl, but again, this never happened. The birth father was identified a few weeks later, and he made the decision to raise her. Curveball.
At that time, Alyssa and I requested a meeting with the agency's director of adoption bridges, Ms. Stephanie Lowry. Our emotions were extremely high, and we seriously questioned whether or not we could continue down this path. At that meeting, Stephanie acknowledged how difficult and emotionally devastating our adoption journey had been. But she challenged us to remember why we were there, why we wanted to start this journey in the first place. And that reason had never changed. We could love. We could love any child. And there was still a child out there somewhere that would have the chance, that we would have the chance to love. Stephanie is, if you know her, she's not one to make hollow promises, but she was there for us, and she knew we would get there, even when we didn't. So again, we waited. Again. It was radio silence for the entire fall and winter of 2022. Alyssa and I we were just wanting to grow our family. Oliver had just turned 1, and we started to think he was going to be our only child. We resumed fertility treatment, but it was not successful. In spring of 23, I answered an unknown number that looked familiar. On the other end was Miss Stephanie. She explained that there was a match, which is all I can remember. Her saying, I called Alyssa, and we were excited. But we knew the drill at this point. There was no guarantees. Do not get excited. Do not tell anyone because you may have to tell them it didn't work out. Do not buy anything. Do not prepare. Try everything you possibly can not to get emotionally attached. But most importantly, do not start loving this baby.
In May of 2023, we met the birth parents for the first time, and everything we told ourselves not to do, we did. We loved them and we love this baby. If you have never been through the adoption process, you likely have a preconceived notion of what a typical birth mother and birth father are like. It is likely that you would assume they are a certain type. I ask that you please not think that. It may not be every case, but I can tell you that the two individuals we met in 2023 are two of the most special individuals in our lives. They are brilliant and beautiful, and they are loving and kind. They are one of the best things that has ever happened to us. These two individuals made the most selfless After that first meeting, the birth parents invited us to every single doctor visit. We got to know them, and they really got to know us. And during that time, looking back, those months of May, June, and July felt like an eternity.
This is where it goes off the rails. On July 3rd, 2023, Alyssa and I were in the labor and delivery room with the birth parents for the most beautiful moment of our lives. Alyssa cut the umbilical cord at 2:12 p.m. and Atticus Cochran was placed into our arms forever. And he never left. Being at the hospital the next few days was filled with so many emotions, but at that time, fear was at the forefront. The fear of another disruption. We spoke to Stephanie multiple times every day. Without Stephanie, this step in the process would have been unbearable. Stephanie's here tonight. Thank you, Stephanie, so much. Eventually, we left the hospital, and Atticus went with us. In the coming days and weeks, it started to set in that Alyssa and I were going to be his parents for the rest of his life. It started to become more real as the weeks went by.
1 month after Atticus was born, Stephanie called and asked if we would be willing to see the birth parents. She had told us that the birth mother was having a hard time and that it might help her. We were obviously scared as to what this meant, but we wanted to help. As we scheduled some time, and it was beautiful. I think all 4 of us wondered what these visits would look like as Atticus got older. This first meeting showed us that everything was going to be fine. Better, actually. After a few hours, we scheduled our next visit, just a few months out, and said our goodbyes.
Atticus will be 2 in July, and his birth parents continue to be an important part of all of our lives. Alyssa and I will continue to do everything we can so that our little boy knows how much he is loved by his birth parents. We have seen them close to 6 times and will continue to do so. By choosing us, they truly changed our lives forever. They gave us the most precious gift in the world, and we were forever grateful. We are forever grateful. This was not a curveball. This was a slow softball that we got to knock out of the park.
But that's not quite the end. As we brought Atticus home in the summer of 2023, we decided to adjust to life as a family of 4 and simply enjoy being parents. I stopped all fertility treatment and gave myself a much-needed break from the pressures of trying to conceive. This was certainly not a time of rainbows and butterflies. We had a newborn, and Oliver was only a year and a half. It was hard and we were tired, but we were so unbelievably happy, and our hearts were full. Then our next curveball came. When Atticus was 6 weeks old, I found out I was pregnant. I can assure you, no one was more surprised by this news than I was. On this day, 1 year ago, I gave birth to our baby girl, Hazel May. When we brought Hazel home, Oliver was 2 and a half and Atticus was 9 months. Our lives have been chaos every day since, and we would not change a single thing. Watching our 3 children together, we will stop and stare, remembering when we believed this would never happen, remembering when it all felt impossible, remembering that St. E's was with us every step of the way, and never stopped believing in what our story could look like if we just kept going.
Without St. E's,